Alright, now, been a while, hasn't it? But we are actually going to get back to the plot of Dragon Ball Z. Yes, it has a plot. Uh, I, I had actually debated whether or not to even bother continuing these, because I thought by now it seemed enough people had, you know, understood that the series did indeed have a plot. But no, I'm still seeing a whole crap load of people claim that it had absolutely no plot, that Bleach has more plot than it does, so on and so forth. I mean, Bleach, really? Really? But anyway, enough with okay, I'm sorry, maybe not. Okay, moving on from the derisive laughter. Um, let's see, where did I leave off? Oh yes, they were taking off for Namek. Well, as you know, they're training on the way to Namek, and while they're on the way to Namek, we see Vegeta arrive back on one of Frieza's planets, wherein he is healed, and we learned that Frieza himself set off for Namek. When Vegeta gets healed, he comes out, gets confronted by Kui. Kui had been his rival, apparently, for quite some time, had a near-identical power level to him, was one of the top soldiers in Frieza's army, right alongside him. Often took the chance to mock him every time he could, because Vegeta on his own had been incapable of completely beating him, due to the fact that they're basically evenly matched, and so, again, decides to grind his heel into him. Mock him for the fact that Nappa and Raditz were both dead now, and then, you know, hey, guess what, Lord Frieza went to Namek. Which, of course, freaks Vegeta out, and Vegeta decides he's going to go after the Dragon Balls that are there himself, and then Kui decides he's going to follow Vegeta, and, well, we know what happens there. They both take off. Then everybody lands pretty much all at once. When Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan land, turns out that, you know, the planet is indeed inhabitable, that, you know, there are people there, the Namekians are there, you know, so they get a good shot at finding the Dragon Balls, because the Namekians are all apparently grouped in certain areas, and, then, much to their horror, they see a space pod land. The same kind Vegeta came in, which of course was Vegeta. And then another one lands, which, for all they know, they're on the same side, and Vegeta has reinforcements. And so, while they're freaked out about that, Vegeta takes on Kui, who landed shortly after he did. They get into it. Vegeta showcases that he learned one thing from his time on Earth, and that was how to hide your true power, and revealed that he had gotten much stronger since his trip to Earth, and completely blows the living crap out of Kui, which also shocks Zarbon and Dodoria, who picked up his power jump on their scouters while they were with Frieza, who were currently in the process of terrorizing a village. Meanwhile, Krillin and Gohan encounter a couple of Frieza soldiers, flare up their power just long enough to kill them, so they don't really get picked up too much. Then becomes one of the most intricate chess games in the series. So many Dragon Balls wind up swapping so many hands throughout this that it's wow. You got Vegeta, who hits up a village of his own. Yeah, well, okay, let's try to do this in order. First and foremost, Gohan and Krillin go to check out one of the villages, and lo and behold, unfortunately, Frieza and his people are already there. And they see firsthand how cruel he is when he slaughters the Namekians to get their Dragon Ball, and even kills a child, and is going to kill another. Or rather, it has Dodoria do it. But anyway. Unable to stay back and hide anymore, Gohan charges in there, gets them discovered, they have to run for their lives, and Dodoria gives chase, basically carves a giant freaking path of destruction. Very easy for Vegeta to follow and track down. And then those two meet. Now, the meeting between Vegeta and Dodoria is quite interesting, because Dodoria is also convinced that he can easily beat Vegeta, and although Vegeta didn't say he got stronger, and was strong enough to kill Kui, we still don't quite know exactly how much stronger Vegeta has gotten. When he takes on Dodoria, it's pretty one-sided. It is, but it's during this that he learns something very interesting. Dodoria, in all his overconfidence, decides that he's going to let Vegeta know that Frieza was the one that killed his people, destroyed his planet. Which gives Vegeta a little bit of a new motivation, to be honest. And, well, it doesn't end well for Dodoria, as he's killed rather painfully. Vegeta then goes out and finds a village of his own, decides he's going to get a Dragon Ball, and slaughters the whole village, including the children. Such a swell guy who's so much better. And hides the Dragon Ball in the water, figures that no one's going to think to look for it down there. And he then takes off. Meanwhile, Krillin and Gohan, who rescued Dende, learned from Dende that the Grand Elder could give them advice on how best to gather the Dragon Balls without being seen, or at least hide them from the people trying to get them so that they don't get their wish. And Krillin goes to see him along with Dende, and the Grand Elder looks into his mind to see everything that has happened. He learns about Piccolo and Kami, and that's when we first learned that they used to be, or that there's the potential that if they used to be, anyways, they used to be one being, and that they were incredibly powerful back then, and were they again, then everything they're going through right now would be pretty much no issue. But anyway, he also senses in Krillin a hidden power. Krillin, however, argues that he did not have one, and well, let's think about that for just 1 second. Krillin had spent years being on the bottom of the heap, okay? He had never really considered himself all that powerful. He never really thought that he was ever going to be on Goku's level. He had given that up years ago. He figured that he likely wouldn't be able to be terribly strong. He was a little bit of a realist / pessimist. He wasn't getting the same kind of power jumps that Goku was, or Piccolo was, or Gohan was. The kid was already probably as strong, if not stronger, than he was, and he was just a kid. And while it is kind of embarrassing and humiliating, he kind of resigned himself to it already. These guys, they were, aliens. They were specifically aliens that were pretty much bred for war. The concept of catching up to them had kind of left him after that last battle. And, well, come to find out that he had a whole lot more sleeping in him than he realized. When that power got unlocked, it was such a noticeable difference that he didn't even feel like himself anymore. It was that big of a contrast. And to top it all off, you learn later that it's actually still exponentially growing. It's not just a one-time jump. So, getting a lot of it brought out of it. That's why the concept that he doesn't think he can get any stronger, he's already maxed out, bothers me. Because it's not quite what it seems like. He says he figures he's about as strong as he's going to get. That doesn't necessarily mean he's his limit. And people like to point to that to say that Tien didn't really hit a limit later, or Yamcha didn't really hit a limit later, they could have gotten a lot stronger if blah blah blah. Not necessarily the case. Every mortal being does have a limit. He just hadn't hit his yet. His was dormant. It was locked away, probably by his own self-doubt. Believe it or not, a lot of well, especially in Eastern mysticism, a lot of your power can actually be locked away by your own self-doubt. It's partially mental as well. So, he figures he's going to go back and get Gohan, give him the same power-up. Meanwhile, Vegeta's on his trail with his new Dragon Ball. And Zarbon's on Vegeta's tail. And, Vegeta and Zarbon, long story short, meet up. And, oh wait, I got ahead of myself. Zarbon and Vegeta meet up. Zarbon, this is where Zarbon kind of lets a few things about Frieza slip as well, such as the fact that Zarbon, not only can Zarbon transform, but Frieza can actually increase his power in a similar manner. Vegeta, of course, thinks that it's something to sneeze at. Zarbon transforms, beats the living crap out of him, leaves him in a crater, leaves him for dead, takes off to report back to Frieza, who was enraged that he didn't make sure he was dead or bring him back alive so that he could figure out whether or not he had any of the Dragon Balls and where they were hidden. So Zarbon has the task of going back and recovering Vegeta, either alive or at the very least his body. And that's when Vegeta, who having recovered, went after Krillin, and yeah, they meet up again. Vegeta reveals that their power levels do indeed increase every time they're injured. This part's a little bit harder to explain. I'm gonna admit this one's gonna be kind of a dull installment, because at this point, you're not really getting too terribly much backstory. It's pretty straightforward. What you see is what you get. You get little hints. It's build up to the deeper stuff that comes later, but I will say this though. The foreshadowing that's done here and the way it's done is actually done very well. And at any rate, so like I said, Vegeta kills Zarbon rather handily after revealing that every time a Saiyan recovers from near death, they grow stronger. The more severe the injury, the closer to death they come, the greater the increase in power. And while people might say that that's kind of BS, in a way it's not, because at the same time, I mean, these guys are a warrior race. They have evolved to be this way. This is something that is in their system. I mean, for crying out loud, they could turn into giant monkeys due to moon radiation. You know? Honestly, this shouldn't be so surprising, in my opinion. But that is where we are going to stop this time, and next time we are going to get into the end of the chess game and the arrival of the Ginyu Force. And this is where things start getting real ugly.